What's going on, people? Welcome to the live match reaction. Forest 1, Palace 1. I guess it's gone as it's been predicted in terms of my prediction for the game. But the second half wasn't good enough. After a very good, I thought it was a decent first half. But yeah. Oh, you know when you open the radio and you told the caller, "Oh, can you put your radio?" That's the moment with the echo. But yeah, Animal, what was your stance on the game? To me, honestly, as the game went on, second half it was frustrating. It was boring and frustrating, but I'm not upset with the point at all because we needed something to build on, and I think we managed to do that.
Yeah, I would have taken the point before the game, but then you see how the game pans out, and I thought we did have a decent first half. You know, it was okay. I thought Pino was doing really well in the first half, and then the second half it was just more of the same of what we've been seeing recently. You know, like this whole backwards sideways passing, it's nothing new. You know, we've been watching this for quite a lot of the season. Slow build up, like lacking creativity, not able to beat a man. And we just kind of reverted back to that in the second half. Pino became more and more frustrating. He was having digs at players. He was wayward passing. But I don't think Pino was the problem today. But yeah, it was a frustrating game not to get anything out of it, especially since they went down to 10 men.
Yeah, they went down to 10 men at the end of the game. It felt like it would have been better if they had 11, because with 11, at least was getting into decent areas. What do you think it was in the second half then?
Lack of ideas. I think I can't really explain it. I wonder what the players are feeling at the moment. I think Dino's comment that Tim told us about in the watch along is sort of stuck with me, and I've obsessed with it over a period of time. So I'm wondering whether these players are upset about the sale of Gay.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. Even if they are, well, I mean, how do you get out of it? You have to pick yourself back up. I think it's more about ideas and the player personnel. We got very direct players in the squad. The only player that can have an ounce of creativity that I think can create chance really for us, in terms of flair, is you're looking at Pino, and he's been very inconsistent. I don't think he had a terrible game today, but in the second half, done nothing. In all honesty, first half, he had a few more moments. But yeah, you're just looking at the bench. The bench today was embarrassing, in all honesty. It's not a Premier League bench, let alone, it's not even under 21 bench, let alone the Premier League bench. When you're looking at some of the players, some of those players, well, to be fair, you would question what the ceilings is. Like with Rodney, as good as he's been for us, he's not Premier League level player. Zach Marsh, similar levels, So we basically had no one off the bench, and the subs that we made, bringing on Uche for Riyadh, I think that was in place of maybe Canberra for Riyadh. I think Riyadh was always going to play around 60 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then after that, you look at the bench, you can't even blame the manager today, because it's like, who on earth do you bring on?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. The link has been posted, so if you do want to call into the show, you can do so. I will just pin it right now. So yeah, I've managed to pin the link if you want to call in. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Mateta's also having his medical done for AC Milan, and Strand Larsen the other way around. So it seems like those deals are finally going ahead after yesterday's Mateta social media post, which was very childish. I'm just happy that he's leaving the football club. But it's 11 games now without a win. 12 games without a win at Palace. How long do you think this goes on for before a change is needed? Because we look at the player personnel. Yes, the bench wasn't great, and we did go to far the back during the game, but it didn't really change much. Angus Gunn was in goal. It was the perfect opportunity to have shots on target. Nothing, absolutely nothing. How long do you reckon we continue like this?
Oh, it's a difficult thing to determine, isn't it? Because we've got Strand Larsen coming in, and we've got Gesand, who's probably going to be making an appearance in the next game. So and also we've got Kamada back for Brighton as well. So how long it goes on for depends on the players that we get back and how well they perform, and how cohesive we can be as a squad. Kamada is a progressive thinker when it comes to passing, and that's, I think, what we missed today. Like, Hughes can't be the guy that we depend on when we've just got Lerma and Hughes in the midfield to be that that creative player all of the time, finding that pass. Because in the first half, especially, we had runners that were making runs constantly. They were making it, they were checking it because they saw that the ball wasn't coming, so they had to come back. They're always back and forth making runs, and we're not finding them with passes. But that's been the story of the entire season as well. Not finding our runners.
Yeah. But I'm just worried about chances really created, and I'm looking at the Conference League, and today that's how you expect even the most our game maybe to be, with them sitting back even deeper than what Forest did, and maybe it comes down to quality and they give us more opportunities because they won't be able to handle the pressure for 9 minutes. But yeah, it is worrying signs, because when I look at Gassan to me is more of a direct player, and I think that's why I was linked to him back in the summer. So I don't know, maybe he could offer something on the ball, maybe. But the funny thing is, we've signed Brennan Johnson, and ever since we signed Brennan Johnson, for him to finish the chances, we're not creating any chances now. It's like we've decided not to create any chances, whereas before we was creating chances, not finishing them. And now we've signed a player who's meant to be very good in front of goal. But how many opportunities does he have in front of goal? Barely any since he's joined that I can remember.
Yeah, we've not got Johnson into a position where he can be effective in front of goal. He's sort of, people. I think the expectation is that he's part of the build up and the creative play, and that's just not his game, is it? And I don't think he's a one man striker either. If you're going to have him in a more advanced position, then you're going to have to play with two, in my opinion, anyway, because he's just not got that physicality. So if you going forward, because it looks like we're going to be buying Strand Larsen, so maybe you can have like two playing up front in a formation change mid game, and you've got Johnson who can put some tap ins, and Strand Larsen who can affect build up play with his physicality. But who knows at this point?
Yeah. Let's bring on the guests. Let's start off with Mason. Mason, it is a draw, not a defeat, but another game without win. And we had the whole second half facing 10 men, but I don't think it helped us. It really didn't. I feel like we were better facing 11 rather than 10, because I just don't think this squad has enough creativity in it. But what was your thoughts on the game?
It was better than previous weeks. I think, especially the first half, we were a bit better. And I will give credit a little bit because, we had a couple of shots on goal before Gibbs White's goal, and that could have easily been the sucker punch. And we could have, been worse off by the time Williams got sent off. But I think if he doesn't turn into prime Allison, we don't get anything out of that game, just because of the lack of creativity, especially in the second half. I was watching that game with my dad, and he didn't even realise that Angus Gunn had been subbed on till the 92nd minute when he had to do something. He didn't even realise. That just shows how little he had to do. It was okay, but you got to look at that bench and just say it's pathetic. I know we've got loads of players missing still, and we're going to have a few of them back for Brighton. But as far as I'm concerned, will it mean a lot when we haven't got momentum? When there's not a lot of positivity surrounding us? We could have Kamada back. We can have Gessan making his debut next Sunday. And I want to have a bit of positivity because, after all, we are playing Brighton. But it just reminds me of, it's not as bad as when we had Roy, like when we played him and when we had him in charge and we lost 4-1 then and whatnot. But it's got a kind of similar feeling, if that makes sense. We haven't got much positivity surrounding the club right now. And I think what we didn't mention before was goal scoring midfielder. We've said over the course of this window we need that goal scoring midfielder. How many times from a set piece did we try and lay it off to Will Hughes, having shots from distance, because our 10s aren't creating that much? So he feels like, well, I've got to have a go. Maybe it's because he used to play for Derby and he has something in for Forest. I don't know. But we've got to face reality. Will Hughes has not scored a goal since Forest's first season back in the Premier League. Jefferson Lerma's not scored a goal for Palace since Roy Hodgson's last game in charge. Adam Wharton's not scored. Kamada's got a couple in the Carabao Cup in the past. You've got to look at it and go, that's another position in this window and in the summer that we failed to address. And when it comes to Glasner, because I saw a lot of comments about Glasner out and whatnot, the bit that is becoming apparent with me is Parish and Glasner had this meeting after Sunderland and everything was apparently rosy, everything was okay, he wouldn't get sacked 2 games after that. I don't think. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it was a bit better, but there's still work to be done.
I think in terms of everything being rosy after the chat, I just don't trust these guys anymore. I don't trust Parish and I don't trust Glasner. So I understand that there may be a chat, but if everything's rosy, I'd be shocked. But it's funny that about the midfield, not scoring goals when you got Hayden Hackney who just scored as well at the weekend, right? And I think a lot of us have been sort of sounding him out as a player that we could be interested
in.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just something that we've not addressed, and it does make me laugh how we keep going back to old signings. Conor Gallagher, how many times have we looked at him? Yes, he would have been perfect, but there's other options out there. I've seen so many times in the past where we've had a player on loan and 3-4 seasons after we had them, we're still linked with them. Go for someone different, try something new. Hayden Hackney is perfect for us. Championship level player, someone that we've managed to grow so many championship talent in the past. Yes, all right, it didn't work with Roman Esse under Glasner, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't work with Hackney. Why haven't we at least attempted to go for him? I don't know. It's looking like a bit of a transfer show video, to be fair, but no, going back to today, I just think there was a lack of creativity. And the reason why I don't blame Glasner is, like Dee said, what do you want him to do with the bench that he's got? What do you want him to do? Now, obviously, I don't want Glasner to come out again like he did against Sunderland and say my bench is crap because you've got Rodney and Marsh on the bench. And I don't want the manager to literally single them out like he did against Sunderland. But you've got to look at it and go, are they going to get us the winning goal? No. And yeah, our lack of creativity is really concerning because Forest were there for the taking.
Yeah. Do you know what I think about? I think about something that Mike said when he was on the show a few videos ago, where he said that he spent a bit of time in Austria and he was talking about Austrian managers. They don't really tend to, roll the dice. They tend to have a system, stick to the system, and they're very sort of focused on that kind of setup. And Glasner's not really that kind of guy to sort of roll the dice, take a chance on a player like Uche, for example, coming on, getting himself around, battling, trying to do something. And I think that you need to be able to roll the dice a little bit more often and trust that a player's personal will to succeed in football is enough to get something like a goal or an assist or just something out of the game. And I don't think Glasner is wired that way from his obviously growing up in Austria and having that kind of mentality.
Yeah, the thing is when you go back to the Sunderland game, and I keep mentioning this interview a lot because he went on about the bench, not just for one interview, but for about 4 or 5 different interviews. He meant what he said. So that's now going to resonate with the players that are on the bench. And they're like, well, I'm not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
They're going to want out in well, maybe not in the summer because Glasner won't be there. But, again, it's concerning how much we've put into the youth system in the past. And we've got a manager who is just reluctant to give them any kind of chance. Yes, Uche did get half an hour, but he was the only sort of attacking outlet that fits Glasner's criteria in a way. Because Zach Marsh and Caden Rodney, I'm sorry, they simply don't. And that's nothing against them. It just Glasner doesn't trust them.
Yeah. What do you think about Riyad today, who started the game? I was happy to see him start the game. He only played 60 minutes or so, but I thought he looked composed, and it's good to see him getting the nod because it's been a rocky start to his Palace career with injuries.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, to be fair. First start in 18 months, I heard on the commentary this game, and he could have always been shaky. And you look like that he's been playing quite a few games for us this season. And I don't mean this in a bad way to JD Canvo, but I would rather start Riyad against Brighton next week. I think he's got to be, because I think sort of he was always meant to be the Gay replacement in a way, because of when we signed him the same summer that Newcastle wanted him for £75 million. I always feel like he was always meant to be the Gay replacement, but obviously the injuries have, have delayed it a bit. But yeah, like you said, he looked composed on the ball. He was trying to be a little bit creative at times. Yeah, it was.
Saw him on he was on the overlap once, wasn't he? Saw that.
Yeah, like an half. It's like
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I actually think it was pretty good, and I think he should start over Canvo. I think Canvo now, especially in the Conference League, I think he's got to try and prove himself now. And actually, we need, what we need in this team? We need a bit of competition for positions. There's too many positions in this team where, because Glasgow doesn't trust them or we don't have depth, the players know that no matter how they play, they're going to be in the team next week.
Yeah,
I'm fed up with that now. I'm fed up with it. We need some kind of competition for positions, and if it needs to be at the centre half position, then so be it.
Yeah, City literally just scored against Tottenham, so I guess that's positive news for us because, believe it or not, Tottenham are right below us.
I just can't believe we're looking down rather than up, D. It's mental. We've got to thank, even though they beat us last week, we've got to thank Chelsea for last night.
Oh my days, I was happy with that. That was like the best case scenario: 2-0 up, destroy their confidence, get a red card at the end of the game. But yeah, Shirky scored a wonderful goal. Hey, Shirky, we were linked with him. He would have been amazing. He would have been amazing. But
I think it's just amazing though, just to hammer home that point from Mason, is that where was it? Back in early December, we were top 4. We had one of the best defenses in the league, and now look at us. It's just absolutely mad. And to be fair as well to the midfield partnership of and Kamada and Wharton, they were mustard, earlier on in the season. Maybe not scoring, but at least they were progressive. They were doing really well playing together, and our results, hinged a lot on the work that they did in midfield. So, it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to those two.
The thing is, Adam, in one season, it's so Palace to go from 19 games undefeated. I know it went, I know it continued on from last season, but 19 games unbeaten to 12 games without a win.
Yeah, we're approaching 19 games without a win. Yeah.
Macclesfield Cups and a 4-1 defeat to Leeds.
Yeah.
Like it's laughable, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, Mason, great having you on. Hopefully we'll catch up with you after Brighton.
Cheers, Mason.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's bring on Tim next. Tim,
hey,
1-1. We've managed to pick up a point. I guess floor's yours. I don't know. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. How are you feeling about the game? Are you happy with the point or disappointed about the second half?
Yes, I am. I know a lot of people are a bit upset at the minute looking at the chat, but just to reiterate my fundamental point I make every time is we're football fans. This is an emotive experience for us, and it's always either everything's brilliant or everything's terrible. And we would all love for there to have been a radical change, and all of a sudden we win every game. But the reality is, watching it today, I think we've made progress. I think we were looking better than we were, and that's something to celebrate. I mean, a week or two back, I was here saying, it's like I think Glasner's system's been found out. Well, that he should actually go off, make some changes, and show us that he's a great manager. And I think actually he has made some challenges. He has actually had some changes of approach. Bringing off Riyadh, bringing on Uche. There is a fundamental change in that. He's given it a try. And a couple of weeks ago we lose that game. Our kryptonite for ages has been whenever you get a solidly defensive low block, sticking 10 men behind 11 men behind the ball and leaving us in possession, we can't do anything. And this is a Sean Dyche team. That's his bread and butter. That's exactly what he does. And we didn't look terrible, and we didn't get an absolute pacing. I think in general, even towards the end of the game, when they were attacking us, they were getting near the ball, and I wasn't actually unduly concerned. There weren't any points where I had that sinking feeling of, oh God, now they're going to score. And because they'd come through and be like, okay, I think we're going to deal with this. And also looked a lot more resilient and better with the with set pieces. So I think baby steps, but we might be headed in the right direction.
Tim, did you think that we struggled to adapt to the change of Uche coming on for Riyadh fast enough to for it to have an effect on the game?
I think so. I mean, yeah, it is a sudden change, and it's it's a thing. I don't think there's a golden bullet to just change this. Yeah, I mean, but it's good to see those changes and it not go catastrophically wrong for us.
Yeah, we did make the changes, and I mean, they did create a few chances in the second half. Had a spell, like 5-10 minute spell, but it was pretty much us keeping possession and not really creating much on the other end of the pitch. But what do you think was the difference today then?
I think we're actually playing with a bit more confidence, certainly defensively, and I think going back, like, defensively is what we need to improve on above all else. Yeah, it's like we can't ship goals because we haven't got the creativity to actually to come back from it too often.
Yeah,
I mean, we're lucky that Williams decided he was a goalkeeper all of a sudden.
How did Riyadh? Do you think he added that confidence into the back line?
Yeah, I think he looked solid. I think he looked good and level-headed. He got about a bit. Yeah, that's exactly what we want from him. As everyone said, he was obviously brought in to be groomed to become the Mark Guehi replacement. And yeah, had he not had a horrible injury, then that would have been a lot easier, and we probably would have sold Guehi a while back and got a lot more money for him. But
yeah.
I think the biggest thing has been losing Guehi for our progression up the field from his position. He was really good at that, and it became a part of how we played forward, and it became a part of our attack. And yeah, I think that Riyadh has got that in him, but he needs time to get up to full match fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big ask because, like, if you consider the physical exertion involved in doing that, I mean, Guehi. I mean, people talk about he's the best centre half in the league. It's like, no, he's one of the best players in the world. It's like people talk about a replacement for Mark Guehi. Well, it's like Elise, or what it really reminds me of Sansom. I kept telling everybody at the time, it's like, just watch and enjoy this because that's a level of quality we can't just buy. Once he's gone, we can't get a like replacement because we're not real.
I agree with you. With Guehi, as much as we lost a great defender, my biggest fear was about losing what we've seen today, the creative player. I mean, he could get off the pitch, he can beat the press himself by bringing the ball up. And yeah, we definitely do miss that. But next game against Brighton, you should have Kamada, Walton, Gassand, Shran Larson, and is there anyone else I'm missing out on? Devaney will be out, but maybe so. But you should have players back. Are you confident based on today's performance that we go and get a result against Brighton, who have been struggling as well?
I think Brighton's an interesting game. I mean, Brighton's always an interesting game, and there's been quite a lot of times we've had terrible form going into a Brighton game. But everybody should turn up for that game.
Yeah, exactly. If they don't turn up, then that's a warrant sign in itself.
Our form changes, and also, like, quite hilariously, that's usually where their form for the season just drops. So
yes, it's gonna be a big game. But do you see a scenario? Mason said he doesn't because I think it was Mason. My brain is stopped now. Or it was Animal. You mentioned, if they've had dinner about two games ago, there's no way he gets sacked against Brighton. Like, surely everything should be fine. But do you see a scenario like that happening? If we don't beat Brighton, then Steve Harris may have to change.
What got rid of Hodgson, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the health concerns were the bigger reasons, but I think he was always going after Brighton.
I think a serious loss to Brighton would be enough to take most people's heads.
Yeah.
My concern is, like, have we got anybody lined up to take over if that happens? Because in which case, what are we going to do? We can't sit around for a month or two whilst they interview people and try and decide.
I think Roger Schmidt is is one of the favourites, and he'd be ready to go as he's out of work, I think.
And it's similar time where Glazer took over as well when he first came to Palace.
If that's the case, I mean, if it comes to it, then cool. I you know, like I say, I'd have to applaud for Glasner because he, you know, as I said, he needed to make changes. He has made some changes. I mean, whether they've worked or not, you know, is arguable. But yeah, yeah, I think it may be time for a change. I don't think he's long term a good fit for us anyway. I think he's not suited to bringing through young players. You know, I see what he wants to achieve and how he wants to go about it, and we're not going to provide that. And I don't think we should try and provide it really, because that's deviating too far from our business model.
A sensible man like yourself, Tim. What do you think of the Strand Larsen signing?
Maybe we can get something out of him. I mean, okay, so this season he's been not great, but then again, their entire team hasn't. And you know, the striker can't score with no chances. If we can actually make chances, maybe he can put them in. Like the season before, he was looking good. Maybe he needs a change. Sometimes that happens. Maybe he needs that, you know, that change of situation psychologically, and that'll bring the best out of him. I mean, being a striker is 99% psychological. Yeah, that's what determines whether they're in form and scoring chances or not. I think that's what with Mateta as much as anything. So yeah, maybe it'll work. I'm not holding my breath, but you know, the amount of times that we have created, say, one-on-ones where Mateta's just fluffed it, maybe he can be the man to put them away. He's big. You know, we could use him more as a target man, get balls into the box for him to get on the end of. That would be good. But yeah, we got to. I mean, whether or not we should spend £50 million on him, I mean, yes, he's a striker. Yes, he's played it and he's performed in the Premier League, but that's a lot of money for us.
Yeah. It's club record fee. But yeah, I mean, I've based on the figures, what 10-15 million pound more than what we get from Mateta. In terms of like net spend, but then also, I don't know, I need to do the calculations, but we got money for Gahey, but then we also spent money for Brennan Johnson. But it seems like Brennan Johnson money was like the Eze money, so I think there's a bit left over from Gahey. So yeah, we should still have money in the tank. Yeah, to go. I don't think we'll sign up. We'll see. Let's see what we end up doing. But I'm not really convinced that we'll sign anyone.
And we know we're either imminently or in the summer going to have to bring in a new manager who's going to want different players. So I really don't see us thinking lots of money into like players that may or may not fit the future managers.
Yeah, but Strand Larsen, I guess we're willing to take that gamble. So yeah, let's see what happens. But Tim, great having you on. Hopefully we'll catch up with you again after the next game. Take care. That was Tim having a say. If you do want to call into the show, you can do so. Click on the pinned link in the live comment section down below. And if you're enjoying it, you can also support the channel by dropping a like and subscribing to not miss out on future content. Let's bring on Dan next. Dan, 1-1 draw against Forest. Happy with the point?
Yeah, happy, but I think it's an opportunity missed, if I'm being honest. We played well enough today to get the 3 points, but just it's that lack of ability on the ball that we struggled with for the majority of the season, if I'm being brutally honest with you.
Yeah. It seems like we're struggling with creativity, and we saw it in the second half. But in the first half, not that we created like tons of good chances, but we were getting into the right areas. It was just in the final third and in the box, we weren't really finding maybe the right pass or so. But in the second half, there was nothing. And after Forest setback, but then you look at the players that we've got. I mean, which profiles really fit into a side that's trying to break down a low block?
Yeah, it's they've done well. To be fair to them, you know what I mean. I was pleased with the performance, you know, but or it frustrating because it was lack of chances, you know, lack of goal threat. But to be fair, I think they were stable enough, you know, and they didn't really have to struggle that much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they didn't. But when you're looking at maybe the defense, that was one of the key areas for me of this game. You know, be solid defensively again and try to build on that. We weren't great even in the first half. They did get in behind a few times. Yeah, we conceded from a long throw, but with Riyadh there, I think maybe going forwards, that's going to be the back three. I'm hopeful for. Hopefully, he can be 90 minutes match fit. But
Yeah,
how do you think of Riyadh starting today?
Yeah, Riyadh, to be fair to him, looks really solid. You know, and he looks like he's up for it. You know, and to be fair, you know, the boy now just needs to take his chance. He got brought in as the Gay replacement, which I feel anyway. And you know, he's not going to be a Mark Gay. He's not going to be a Mark Gay overnight. He's not, you know. But at the end of the day, potentially we could grow him, you know, in stature and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, we can grow him. But in terms of the short term, when you're looking ahead to some very important games, even beyond Brighton, we need to get a win. Are you comfortable based on the players coming back? Walton, Kamada, Tran Larson, Gassan as well. He'll be in the squad next week against Brighton, and today's performance that we can go and finally get a win. Because I mean, 12 games without a win is a long time, but 13 games, if we don't beat Brighton, it's not going to be great.
I'm looking forward to Guestan and Larson coming in. You know, I think Larson's a bit better than Mateta. If I'm being honest, you know, like last season, you know, you can't not grumble. He scored 14 goals, you know, and arguably one of the better centre forwards of the season. And Wolves are a struggling team as well. So you got to give the man credit for that, you know, and hopefully he can find some sort of form and help us. But yeah, I'm not too worried about these fixtures coming up. I think the fixtures coming up suit us more than anything. It's time now to just you know, get together as a group and be the Palace that we can be.
Yeah. I think that's important as well. Is that we, you know, the season's not over, and we have to turn this around, and we have to be positive. And you know, if there's anything that our fan base can take from towards the end of the season is just to back our players. You know, you may not back Glasner, you may not back Parish, but like back the players, because otherwise we don't have a good end to the season.
No, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Glasner out." Well, what's the point? You know, I mean, there's no one there. There's no one there that can humanly come in and replace him. You know, I wouldn't want Paddy McCarthy, to come in and manage against Brighton, Wolves, and Burnley, and the two Europa games. These set of 5 games are the most important games in our season, I feel. You know, we need at least 7 points. I feel we need at least 7 points, and we need another route into Europe. So you know, I'm all for Glasner going soon, but at the end of the day, not just this present moment in time. I feel let the man finish what he started, and let's just go for it. Maybe getting a couple more loan signings just to help the players ease through the period that we got coming. But yeah, I'm right with it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, in terms of players coming in, tomorrow should be transfer deadline day yet, and it closes early in the evening, I think around 7 p.m. How many do you reckon after Tran Larson and Gassan? Well, Gassan has been confirmed. After Tran Larson, do we need to bring in?
I would like to say 2. I would like to say 2 because I feel we need another defensive option. Maybe if it's someone with a bit of Premier League ability, you know, just to sit on the bench or maybe just do like 30 minutes here and there. And I feel we need another midfielder option as well because you know, I can't trust this midfield moving forward. If I'm being brutally honest with you, I can't really trust that midfield moving forward. You know, Wharton's just not producing the stats. You know, all right, fair enough. He's a baller. He wins balls. He does this. He does that. Kamada again settled in, and then he got this injury. You know, Devaney's not up to scratch. You know, Lerma and Hughes, all right. Lerma and Hughes can battle for the balls and that. But as your previous guest said, we need a centre midfielder with a passion, a drive to move forward and score goals.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if we do bring in a central midfielder, in all honesty. But yeah, it's hard to. I get what we need right now, and I think we'll most likely need it next season too. But it just makes it a lot more difficult when you just don't know how you're going to approach games next season and what system you're going to play. Because even right now, this is the team for Glasgow's team, but I wonder what's going to happen next season. And with a new manager, I mean, if it's more possession based, then do these players fit the profile? If you want to go wing play as well, so yeah, it's a bit hard with recruitment.
I don't believe that they're just going to rip up the whole entire format. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Maybe they'll have to bring in a manager that suits these players more than anything.
Yeah,
so
definitely 100%.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if that's going to be Brighton game. Are you a bit more confident based on what you've seen today?
Yeah. To be fair, we always show up against Brighton. You know what I mean? And we just need to show up, show bottle, show character, and I feel be all right. You know what I mean? We just need to go there, be solid. You know, and take the chances that we're going to get, and hopefully Strand Larsen bags a hat trick on his debut.
You know I imagine that'll be the dream.
That'll quiet the doubters pretty quick, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Straight away. I mean, that'll be the best start possible, I think, for Strand Larsen, especially against Brighton as well. But yeah, let's see what happens with that. But Dan, great having you on.
Yeah, nice one, guys. Do you take care?
Let's bring on Nat next. Nat, 1-1 draw. A bit more positive today in terms of, well, the first half performance, second half performance, it struggled trying to stay awake. I mean, it was boring, I'll be honest. I was going to watch along, but I was bored of watching it. I was happy when the referee blew the final whistle. But what was your assessment of the game?
It's better than the past few games. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe a bit more positivity in the squad because we got Munoz and Sarr back. It still lacked a bit of what's the word? Like the need to want to win from the players. I felt like that was lacking still. There was a few good passes there that we couldn't quite take the opportunity to even shoot. I don't know. There was like a stat I saw earlier that said we had like one shot or something. One shot on. I don't even know if we had a shot on target. I haven't looked at the stats, but it wasn't.
In the second half. If we did, it was just a nothing shot on target. I mean,
yeah, we need to shoot way more, and we need to get into. I mean, they kind of were trying to get into those opportunities, but I was just like, where are the shots? You know, we need someone needs. We don't have that creative player. Someone needs to create something. You know, it's still lacking a lot, but it was been better than the past few weeks.
Yeah,
I thought Pino was decent in terms of creativity in the first half, but he, like we said earlier, he just sort of he fell off a little bit in the second half, and then that was it for our creative input.
What did we actually think of the change? Because there was a change. Pino was dropping a bit more deeper, and he had more freedom to roll around, centrally, left, right. Do you think that role suits Pino a bit more than just being stuck on the left-hand side and cutting in to the right?
Not really for me, because I felt like he could have put crosses in on the left. When he kind of moved a bit around with I think it was all three of them, to be fair, at the top. But I think we should keep them where they are. Otherwise, you're lacking a striker already, and then you've got to like make chances with a makeshift striker, and you're not going to. Sarr probably was unlikely to put anything away, and I think he had one good opportunity, and then with Pino. I think it was just better to put him on the left. I think he kind of was on the left at the end of the game there, and you can see him creeping in to make a cross or make a pass across the box when we had a bit more of an attack going on.
Yeah. In terms of recruitment, Mateta's gone to AC Milan, pending a medical, which hopefully we'll be able to finish that one. and then we've got Strand Larson coming in. So, what's your thoughts on the transfer business?
That's way too much the price for me. I saw a shot from him yesterday's match where he took a touch rather than shot straight away, and he had an open net in front of him. So he's an average striker for me, and we should be looking to get someone a bit more. I mean, I guess who is there at the price that someone like Steve Parish will pay for? But yeah, it's just.
Well, it's not a lot of money though. I mean, there should. For me, the biggest thing was there's only been the Strasbourg striker that's been mentioned and Strand Larson. I would assume that there would be more than 2 players on our list, considering that the Mateta thing shouldn't be a surprise at all to the club. I mean, we've heard it as fans for over a year now that is not willing to sign a new deal. So, a competent club should have more players in position. Maybe Matt Hobbs, he's known him at Wolves. He thinks that we can get the best out of him at Palace. Maybe it comes down to that, which a lot of people are, getting onto Matt Hobbs, which I understand to a certain degree, but it's only one window so far. And
but it's one-dimensional thinking, isn't it? It's going. Matt Hobbs is saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go back to my club. What about this guy?" I understand that Strand Larson is an option, right? And it's a deal that we can do. And the bad thing about it is the Wolves are in a strong negotiating position because we have a desperate need, right? And so they can just say, "Look, we want you to pay this much." Blah blah blah. So it's a difficult one, but I'm going to reserve judgment on Strand Larson until he starts playing for us. And then I think, that's when I'll start talking about how good of a player he is or isn't.
Yeah. When you're looking at today's performance, then, if we can bring that to Brighton, who have been struggling, and then you're looking at Wharton and Kamada, Kassand, Larson coming into the side, could this be the game we finally get the win?
You know what? I can kind of see things starting to happen. I could see something happening today, but I still think for me it's a bit too late now. I think Glasner has to leave after the Brighton game because he's kind of weakened the enthusiasm to play and to win games. And I think we're in a kind of rebuild anyway. And him announcing he's going to leave, he's still got to bring in someone new. So I'd say keep him for the Brighton game, and then change manager. And as for that game at Brighton, I think we could see a win because it will be players back, like you say, and there could be potential to start winning games again.
Yeah,
I've got this dream that Kamada comes back and changes everything for us, and we start.
Kamada and Wharton are key. It is the key to the midfield. If you're talking about chances as well.
The thing about Wharton is all of this gets into his head a bit easier than it does to, like, say, Daichi. Like when Kamada, when the team isn't playing so amazing, then Wharton starts getting frustrated, and that's when we start seeing a drop in his performance. So I think an older, more experienced head with Kamada is probably something that we could really use right now in the midfield.
Yeah, because those two in midfield have helped us out massively. And when's the last time Kamada has played? I can't even remember.
He got injured in December, wasn't it? Mid-December or early December?
Yeah, and since then we haven't won a game. Of course, there was other factors as well, but I think we've desperately missed that Kamada Wharton. And Wharton needs to up his game. He hasn't been particularly great the past month or so, by his standards anyway. So let's see what happens with that. But any further signings you think we need to make tomorrow ahead of the deadline?
Well, they're not going to make any, but you should probably get another midfielder, and we all, I don't know, we all should get a centre back in, really, shouldn't we? If they were to make any signings, it's probably going to be a loan now. So I can't really see anyone coming in. And I mean, was it Mason that mentioned it at the start? Hayden Hackney, probably too pricey. That's the only one I'm seeing. For some reason, Loftus-Cheek's coming into mind. Probably too old now. So yeah, I can't really see anything happening.
Well, there's that thing again that Mason was talking about, where we go back to players that we've had previously on loan. It's one of those things where we can't think of anybody else. I think Hayden Hackney should be a target for the summer because Kamada's going to be gone. I don't think he's re-signing. So, Hayden Hackney coming in, I think would be brilliant. But
I don't think it's not going to happen.
You don't think that will happen in the summer?
Oh, and it's some. Oh, and it's some of. Yeah, that just depends on the
They're
manager and the approach you want to go in.
They're going to
Yeah.
go big. They're going to have to go big in the summer. So I think there's going to be quite a few, hopefully, in the summer to come. And I
Yeah,
would agree. Hayden Hackney
Yeah.
probably should be one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, great talking to you. Hopefully after Brighton we can talk about a win.
Yeah.
All right then, take care.
Cheers, Nat.
Cool. If you do want to call in, you can do so. There's a couple of people waiting behind the scenes, but after those, you'll be able to join us live. Let's bring on Cosmo next. Cosmo, a draw today. I really do want to say win, and I keep holding myself back because I just felt like maybe with the red card we could have gone in the second half and got a win, but it was opposite. We didn't really create much. It was a disappointing second half, but first half I did find some positives, not the greatest of halves, but overall the performance when you look at the 9 minutes. We survived as a team for 9 minutes, which for a long time we haven't done. It feels like anyway. So after 60, 70 minutes, we drop off. And yeah, just look at these players, and I just don't see us really having much creativity in the squad. And I think that was the downfall for the second half.
Yeah, to be honest, I would have taken a point before the game. I just don't like Forest. I just didn't want them to beat us more than anything. And I think definitely before that red card, I thought we were going to lose.
Yeah.
And I mean, the red card was from a corner. That was the closest we got to scoring all day, and it should have been a goal. But from a set piece again, like I don't know if one of you who said it earlier about the last time we scored from a set piece. Maybe it's someone in the comments. Scored from open play. It's like once in the last 2 months or something.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I'll take a point. But I think the next games are just going to be really crucial. Either way, Glaston's going at the end of the season. But if you lose to Brighton, and if it's a loss where the just mentality isn't there from the players, then I think that's going to be really bad, especially at the Amex. Then Burnley at home, that has to be a win. We cannot not win that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think we need to show the fight against Brighton, because when you come up against teams like Burnley, these relegation teams, we see it every season. It used to be us. We're battling for our Premiership survival, and so will they be.
Yeah, definitely. Just Burnley have not been winning at all. I don't even know how many games they've won this season. It's only a few. That's just to draw that game is not good enough. But I think the only thing that's keeping Glasgow in the job is the conference, because, like you said earlier, who are we getting in otherwise? And who are we going to get in that can win the conference and also keep us higher in the league or something? So I think he'll stay in the job. If we lose to Mostar both games or something like that, or get knocked out, then maybe he'd go. But even then, I still don't see it. After the Sunderland game, if he's not getting sacked after that, then I don't see him getting sacked unless we genuinely fall into a relegation battle. And all we need at the moment, really, to survive most seasons, you need 40 points. We're 11 off that right now. And West Ham are 9 points behind us.
With bad goal difference as well. So they'll probably need like 10 points to go ahead of us because the goal difference is quite bad. So, yeah, you're talking about 3 wins and 1 draw, at least from West Ham, which is without Palace winning a game, which we haven't done in a long time, but you'd expect us to pick up a few more points, especially this month, because we've got some big games, as you mentioned, Burnley, Wolves coming up as well soon. So hopefully then we should be able to pick up a couple more wins, and we should be relatively safe. But I just started talking about staying up because it just felt like we moved on from that with Glasgow, but here we are once again mentioning about, we need 6 points or 7 points to go and be safe. But you did mention fight. Do you think you saw enough fight from the players today to convince you that we can continue like this under Glasgow?
I saw more when I was watching it. I thought I saw more at the start. I thought Will Hughes, his shooting was terrible today. But I thought I saw he was really going for it. Not Sarr. I'm getting all my players confused. Munoz, I think, is always trying really hard. Maybe too hard because he kept slipping every time he kicked the ball. But I think I did see more fight from some of the players. But then again, Brennan Johnson, I would have hoped that he would be a little bit more involved, considering against his old club and he was getting booed a little bit. You'd have a little bit more energy to you, a little bit more determination to try and go and score a goal and prove a point against your old team, especially when the fans are, against you like that.
I don't know about anyone else, but Munoz doesn't look 100% to me. He still looks about 80 to 90%, and I think that affects how quickly he gets up the pitch, how quickly he gets back down the pitch. But it's good to see him getting into those challenges nice and hard,
Yeah, definitely. To have Munoz back, Sarr back, it wasn't his best today. And then I don't know when Kamada's back. It's for next couple of games, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, he should be back for Brighton. According to
those players are really core to how we play, and I think that we will look much better. But then again, we've just got to take the chances. I don't think there were many chances today that were like really clear cut, like when Mateta's missed his ones. They really didn't create anything where you'd think like you have to score that one. But the goals just have to come. The performances have to get better because at the moment it's just not good enough.
I think the speed of our passing is key. We need to have that central pairing of Wharton and Kamada back because we've got to move the ball quicker.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also I don't know what you think about it, but it feels like Johnson hasn't been great in terms of taking on his play and beating him, but we were missing chances. We were creating chances and missing them, and that's why we brought in Johnson. But ever since we brought him in, we're not really creating any chances. So it's all a bit confusing. Maybe when Munoz gets up to full speed, it might be a bit better. But yeah, it's just baffling. It's so typical of Palace to bring in a player who's very clinical in front of goal. We know his limitations on the ball, and then as soon as we bring him in, we've stopped doing what we're doing.
In the first half, I think there was 3 or 4 times the ball just like flashed across the back post over on the left where Johnson surely would be, and he wasn't even there. And that's what we brought him in to do. That was the only thing he was good at doing at Tottenham, week in, week out. So I don't know whether he's been told by Glasner to do something else, but clearly he's not very good at taking people on. Yeah. So I don't get why just run in, get in the box. And I don't know if that's Glasner's fault or if that's Johnson lacking confidence or something, but you have to get in those areas. If that's what you've been brought in to do, you have to do it.
I wonder if Johnson's ever been a player to beat his man, because I saw him today and he didn't even look like he wanted to try and attempt to beat a man. I saw him a couple of times on the left wing, just sort of running forward and then turning around and just running passing back. It's just, I think a lot of us have played football, when during the golden era of football, and there was flair players all over the place. We all loved a bit of dribbling, and it just seems to have gone from the game in recent times.
Yeah, it's very more direct, and that's the disappointment. I mean, at Palace, we've always had flair, and we just don't. We simply don't have flair. No one personally for me gets me out of my seat when I see them on the ball. No one at this Palace squad. I'm not like, oh, okay, go on, take him on. Like, Sarr's very good with his pace, etc. But he's not that skillful player. He's very good using his strength and his speed to maybe getting behind when there's space. But there isn't a will for a Bolasie, of course, and Elise is hard, but even like an Eze where you just maybe, cool, he might not have a good game for 60 minutes, but he could have that one moment which goes past 2-3 players to create an opportunity. We just don't. Yeremy Pino's the only player, and he's just not consistent enough right now. So, but I think that's because of Glasner's system. We've gone fully direct because that's what he prefers, and we just don't have the variety to change it about. That's how I see it.
No, I think we've signed players which should work for Glasner's system theoretically. I don't think he was that fussed about Eze trying to do anything that creative. I think we'll stick with Glasner to the end of the season, see if this experiment works, going on, win the Conference League if we can. Then when he's gone, bring in a manager who will give chances to these flair players. I don't think Eze's near enough the quality of Eze was, for example, when he came in on Elise. But I would like to see flair players brought in like that, give young players from the Championship again another go, because 50 million on Strand Larsen, 35 million on Brennan Johnson, no resale, nothing particularly exciting about either of them to me.
I think the problem is when you have these flair players like Eze, they need to be nurtured, they need to have confidence instilled in them. And Glasner he won't play Eze. He's after the mistakes he made against Millwall, I think it was. He doesn't take a chance on him again. And this, I think in Man City's in Guardiola's Man City, it's a little bit different. He gives the opportunity to these players, but he just stifles them with his system football and how he wants them to play rather than expressing themselves on the pitch.
Yeah, I think if Eze wants to come back on loan for the end of the season, he'd be more than welcome to, because he's not getting enough game time at Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't think he will be. I think he's going to just stay at Arsenal for the time being. But yeah, let's see what happens. But Cosmo, great having you on.
Thanks, Cosmo.
Again after the next game.
So yeah.
Take care. Okay, let's bring on another American Tim. Tim, how you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good, you guys. Really disappointed in the game today. Thought we could get more than one point. I was the only thing that excited me in the second half was him bringing Uche on to see if he could beat Mateta, but I don't think that experiment worked terribly. My main question is, can we chief rival to Forest from Brighton? Are we married to Brighton being our big rival? Because I really hate Forest, and I hated that we lost when we dropped points today.
Well, yeah, I mean, Brighton is another occasion. When you look at Brighton, it's a massive game. But end of the day, just move the Brighton aspect out of it. We're desperate for a win. We just need to win the game. Whoever we play at this point, we couldn't even beat bloody Macclesfield. So it doesn't even matter if it's like Forest. Of course, a Brighton game adds that pressure. Like, you do not want to lose against Brighton. And but we just need to go out there and get a win. But are you confident that we could take today's performance and get something against Brighton?
Yeah, I think we can. I think especially if Kamada comes back, that'll solve sort of that middle problem. I don't know if you want to drop Lerma back, but I didn't hear how you guys thought that Riyadh did today, but I thought he did pretty good. But yeah, I think with Kamada coming in, that could really brighten things up a little bit, so to speak. The main thing I wanted to talk about was a question for you lifelong Palace fans, and that is, I was really disappointed that Gahey didn't get a farewell. You know, he just sort of slunk off after Macclesfield, and I'm wondering, in your history, have there ever been a moment where you get to celebrate the people that are leaving, or is it just a constant turnstile of players coming in and coming out? You know what I mean? I felt cheated that I wasn't able to honor Gahey for all his work. There was no time in a game when you could say, well done, farewell, and God bless you, and Godspeed or whatever. You see my question?
Yeah, I don't think there is even what Gahey done. There's not a lot of players when they leave, they have a farewell message to the fans, even like a 5-minute video. So I think that was different. But I think with football, because of how fast paced it is, it's hard. I mean, I don't think anyone really expected to lose Gahey as we did after the Macclesfield game. I mean, there was talk in my city, but yeah, with Will there was we knew that he was going, but it's hard.
I think there was for Wardy as well, but it was a different situation, wasn't it? We just won the cup, and Wardy was with us for a very long time, you know. So
that was ideal.
Yeah, it's just the situation as well. Like losing, I don't think any of us really wanted to lose Gahey when we did. So I think there's some negative feeling around it as well, not towards Mark, but towards the board for sure.
Yeah, I think nothing but positive feelings about Mark. I mean, I think it would have been really nice to have him have his Semenyo moment, where he's in the last game. We know he's going next game. If he'd have played an extra week or so, we could have at least prepared for that and given him, a clap off or whatever, a thanks. But he never got that. So I feel bad about that whole situation. So,
to reflect one of the comments that's been made, we'll see when we next play against City and Gahey, and Gahey's around, and see how we respond to him, because there should be nothing but love for him.
Yeah. There will be. I'm pretty sure there will be. Even like Ebbs, there wasn't nothing towards him. But we won't be facing Mateta. What do you think about the Mateta situation? He's gone to AC Milan.
I think that's great. I hope we get a lot of money for him. Again, God bless, Godspeed. He's done a lot for the club. He's been really poor, month and a half or so, 2 months even. But I hope we just get a lot of money for him and get in a decent striker. We've got 24 hours to get someone else new in here, or what are the prospects there?
We've got a deal confirmed, and it's just he needs to do a medical and everything and get that sorted out. And we've signed Strand Larson from Wolves.
Oh, we have. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, he's a big player. Maybe he'll fill that hold-up play that has served. If for nothing else, he can distribute it to the striker. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, Tim, great having you on.
Thank
Hope
you.
catch
I
up.
appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, we're going to wrap up there, people. But before you do leave, if you have enjoyed this, please do drop a like and subscribe. It does help us out massively. And let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching on replay as well, of your overall thoughts on the game. We'll be back most likely tomorrow. But I'm a bit busy, so we're going to have to figure that one out about deadline day. But yeah, I mean, Shrine Larson should be signing. Gusand is here. And then that's it. No more signing talks. And next up will be in the summer when Glasner isn't here, and then we can discuss players and systems again. But that's it from us. And until next time, up the Palace.
Up the